On the night of July 14th, 1881, Billy the Kid walked into a dark room. He was one of the most wanted men in the American West. For 78 days, he had been free. For 78 days, Sheriff Pat Garrett had been trying to find him. Then after midnight, in a quiet house in Fort Sumner, New Mexico, the hunt ended. A gunshot broke the silence. Billy the Kid was dead. Most people know who pulled the trigger, but the real question is harder. How did Pat Garrett find him? This is not just the story of an outlaw, and it is not just the story of a sheriff. It is the story of two men on a collision course, one trying to stay free, one determined to catch him again. This is the final hunt for Billy the Kid. By 1881, Billy the Kid was already a legend. His real name was Henry McCarty, though he was also known as William Bonney. To some, he was a killer. To others, he was charming, loyal, and almost impossible not to like. But by the spring of 1881, the law had made its decision. Billy had been captured. He had been convicted. He had been sentenced to hang. The story should have ended there. But Billy the Kid had never been easy to hold. Months earlier, Pat Garrett had already done what many men had failed to do. He had tracked Billy down and captured him at Stinking Springs. I'm telling you this because Garrett was not walking into this story as a lucky sheriff. He had already found Billy once. He knew the country, he knew the people, and more importantly, he knew Billy. After the capture, Billy was taken to jail in Lincoln County, New Mexico. He was waiting for execution. The date was set. The rope was coming. For most men, that would have been the end. But on April 28, 1881, Billy made his move. Inside the courthouse jail, he managed to somehow get loose. Deputy James Bell was killed. Deputy Bob Ollinger was killed. Billy armed himself. Then he walked out of the building, mounted a horse, and rode away. Just like that, a condemned man was free. Behind him were two dead deputies. Ahead of him was open country. Shortly after that, somewhere in New Mexico, Pat Garrett received the news. The man he had already captured was gone. Now
Billy
Garrett had to hunt him all over.
Get your guns.
Again. For Billy, the escape was a miracle. For Garrett, it was a problem. A very public problem. Garrett had caught Billy once. The courts had sentenced him. The law believed the matter was finished. Then Billy escaped and killed two more lawmen. That changed everything. Now this was not just about catching an outlaw. It was about Garrett's reputation.
Correct?
It was about justice for the dead deputies. It was about whether the most famous fugitive in New Mexico could make the law look powerless. Garrett could not simply let Billy vanish. He had to find him, again. But finding Billy was not easy. The Southwest was enormous. There were deserts, mountains, ranches, trails, and settlements where a man could disappear for a long time if he had friends. And Billy had friends.
Lights fading fast.
After the escape, Billy had a choice. He could have run far away. He could have crossed into Mexico. He could have tried to disappear forever. Instead, he kept returning to familiar places, especially Fort Sumner. Fort Sumner was not just a hiding place. It was part of Billy's world. He knew people there. He trusted people there. He had spent time there before. Some accounts connect him to women in the area. The exact truth is still debated. But there was a pattern. Billy was drawn back to people, and people leave trails. For Garrett, that was the opening. A fugitive can hide in the desert, but sooner or later, he needs food.
Did anyone see
He
me?
needs shelter. He needs a horse.
I need to know who I can
He
trust.
needs information.
Your secret
He
is
needs
safe with
someone
me.
he trusts. Garrett did not need to search every mile of New Mexico. He needed to understand where Billy would go. And that is where this story becomes less like a random manhunt and more like a contest between two men who knew each other's world.
Over there.
Billy was trying to stay free. Garrett was trying to think like Billy. As the weeks passed, the record becomes thin. There are not many clear, documented incidents from Billy's final 78 days. But while Billy's movements are hard to trace, Garrett's mission becomes clearer. He was following leads,
confront them right here.
Listening to rumors,
Be ready to move out.
Questioning people.
Let's ride.
Trying to find the weak point in Billy's circle. And by July, the trail pointed toward Fort Sumner. On July 14th, 1881, Garrett rode toward Fort Sumner with deputies John Poe and Tom McKinney. They had information that Billy was in the area. Garrett did not simply stumble into history. He came looking. When Garrett and his men reached Fort Sumner, they entered a dangerous situation. Billy had friends there. Locals were not eager to talk. According to later accounts, Poe believed some locals knew more than they admitted. At one point, Garrett and his men watched a house where they believed Billy might appear. They waited.
Voice down.
Nothing happened. The trail seemed cold. Then Garrett moved toward the home of Pete Maxwell. Pete Maxwell knew Billy. That made him valuable. If Garrett wanted to know where Billy was, Pete Maxwell was one of the people worth questioning. Garrett entered Maxwell's room. The room was dark. Outside, Poe and McKinney waited. Inside, Garrett spoke with Maxwell. What exactly was said in that room has been debated for more than a century. Did Maxwell help Garrett? Did he simply answer questions? Did Garrett already know Billy was close? Was he waiting? Or was he still trying to figure out where Billy might be? Those questions remain. Shortly after midnight, Billy the Kid approached the house. He was reportedly carrying a knife and looking for food. He did not seem to know Garrett was inside. He stepped into the dark room. He sensed someone was there. According to the famous account, Billy asked in Spanish, "Who is it?"
¿Quién es?
Garrett recognized the voice. He fired. Billy fell. The hunt was over. Some believe Billy was betrayed. Others believe Garrett was simply a better tracker than the legend admits. He had already captured Billy once. He knew Billy's habits. He knew the people around Fort Sumner. He knew where a fugitive might go when he needed help. And maybe the truth is somewhere in between. Because fugitives are rarely caught by one clue. They are caught when their world gets smaller. Billy's world was getting smaller. In Fort Sumner, the place that may have felt safest became the place where Garrett finally found him. After Billy died, his legend only grew. Pat Garrett became famous as the man who killed Billy the Kid. Yet more than a century later, people still ask the same question. How did Pat Garrett find Billy the Kid? Was it betrayal? Was it local information? Was it Garrett's skill? Or was it Billy's own decision to return to the people and places he trusted? Billy escaped the jail. He escaped the rope. He escaped the law for 78 days. But he never escaped the hunt. And in the end, Pat Garrett did not have to search the whole Southwest. He only had to find the place Billy could not leave behind, Fort Sumner. So what do you think? Did someone betray Billy the Kid? Or did Pat Garrett simply know exactly where to look? Please, let us know if you would like to see more of Let Me Tell You a Story. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe.